In the endless flow of human life, we constantly face flames of hatred burning within individuals, spreading into entire communities. When an insult is spoken, many instantly respond with anger. When a small wound appears, how many of us can open our hearts with forgiveness instead of feeding resentment? Life is already full of suffering, yet it becomes heavier when we fight hatred with more hatred. Imagine a fire already raging. If we try to put it out with more fire, will it ever stop? Or will it only grow larger and destroy everything? The Buddha saw this truth thousands of years ago. He taught, hatred never ends by hatred. Only by love is hatred healed. This is the eternal law. That teaching shines like a ray of light breaking through thick darkness. It reminds us that only compassion can save this world from wars, from hatred piled upon hatred, and from the endless ruins of suffering. In today's society, where people are swept into selfishness and competition, compassion seems like a forgotten word. People talk about success, power, and money, but few speak of compassion as a value to live by. Yet compassion is the root of lasting peace. When our hearts are closed, we become lonely in this world. But when our hearts open to love, the whole world becomes one home. Compassion is the doorway to every heart. It is the thread connecting people through understanding and care. A gentle smile can ease pain. A kind gaze can rescue a desperate soul. A small act of compassion can change an entire life. If we react to anger with more anger, conflict only grows. But if we pause, breathe deeply, and look with compassion, tension naturally dissolves. Hatred cannot survive compassion, just as darkness cannot exist where there is light. Love is not a luxury. It is the very breath of life, the energy that sustains all beings. A world without compassion is like a barren garden without life. The Buddha taught, whoever plants seeds of love will harvest peace. Love never disappears. It transforms and returns in countless ways. When we speak a kind word, we not only lift others up, we plant happiness within ourselves. But when we hold on to hatred, we are the first to be burned. Clinging to anger is like holding a burning coal in our hand, waiting for it to scorch us. Compassion is the only medicine that can heal pain at every level, personal, communal, and global. Look at the world today. Wars, divisions, broken families, all because people cannot open their hearts to love. So many live in loneliness and despair simply because no one offers them a hand to hold or a heart that listens. If each of us paused just a little and listened to the voice of compassion within, we would see something miraculous. Hope is still alive because loving hearts still exist, and you, right now, can be one of those hearts. Compassion is not weakness. It is the greatest strength a human being can have. It takes courage to forgive. It takes generosity to let go. It takes steadfastness to keep loving, even when we are hurt. The compassionate person dares to step out of the cycle of hatred. They choose another path, a harder path, but a far more beautiful one, the path of love. Once we walk that path, our lives become lighter, freer, and peaceful, no matter the storms outside. The world needs compassion more than ever. If we keep feeding hatred, we are planting seeds of suffering for ourselves and for humanity. But if we begin with a single seed of love and nurture it each day with listening, forgiveness, and care, one day it will grow into a great forest of peace, offering shade and shelter for all. Then the Buddha's teaching on compassion will not just be words in scripture. It will become our breath, our heartbeat, our guiding light. When people hear about compassion, many mistake it for pity. They think it's weakness, something fragile. But the Buddha made it clear, compassion is not weakness. Compassion is the greatest inner strength. To live with true compassion, we need a brave heart to face pain, a mindful mind that refuses to be dragged into hatred, and a steady spirit that keeps the flame of love alive through life's storms. A person may conquer thousands of enemies, but if they cannot conquer the anger in their own heart, they have not achieved true victory. On the other hand, someone who tames their heart with love has discovered a power no weapon can compare to. Compassion begins with loving yourself, not spoiling yourself, but caring for your heart, treating yourself with kindness and respect. The Buddha said, "If you cannot love yourself, you cannot truly love others." If we live in constant self-blame and self-hatred, we'll never have the strength to love anyone else. But if we can sit in peace, listen to our heart, and forgive ourselves when we fail, then we can open our arms to our loved ones. Compassion is not just an emotion for others. It is a spring rising from within, flowing outward into the world. When love fills us, our eyes soften, our words become gentle, and our actions are filled with care. A compassionate person is like the sun. The sun does not choose who to shine on. It does not demand payment. It simply shines, warming and giving life to all. Compassion works the same way. It does not discriminate between family and strangers, between rich and poor, between high and low. It spreads everywhere. That is why in Buddhism, compassion goes hand in hand with wisdom. With wisdom, we see that all beings suffer the same. And with that vision, we can love equally and without boundaries. Love without borders. That is the Buddha's heart. A vast heart embracing the universe. We have all felt lonely, even in a crowded place. We have all longed for an understanding look, or an embrace that heals. And perhaps we've all realized, sometimes a single kind smile is enough to warm an entire cold day. A smile, a word of encouragement, a small gesture of kindness. These are acts of generosity. We don't need wealth to give. We only need a heart that feels the pain of others. To smile is to give. To listen is to give. To look kindly is to give. This is the essence of compassion. When compassion appears in life, its healing power is undeniable. A heart full of anger softens when touched by compassion. A community divided can heal when compassion is its foundation. A world at war can find peace if enough hearts are filled with compassion. Compassion is the energy that heals the world. It melts cold indifference. It awakens trust and hope. Think of the monks and nuns who dedicate their lives to compassion. They walk into places of poverty, embrace orphans, care for the sick, help the desperate, expecting nothing in return. Their eyes and smiles lighten heavy hearts. They remind people the world is still worth trusting, that love still exists. Even in daily life we see this. A person forgives someone who once harmed them. Another helps a stranger in need. These are living proofs of compassion's power. It doesn't need to be loud or dramatic, yet it shakes hearts more deeply than any sermon. And then we realize, a compassionate person is never alone. They carry within them a silent connection to all beings. Love prevents them from feeling lost. They know every life is intertwined. When we love others, we enrich our own lives. When we give love, we don't lose anything. Instead, we grow richer. The wider compassion grows, the deeper our peace becomes. So compassion is not just moral advice. It is a truth to live by. A medicine that helps us walk through suffering and return to true happiness. With compassion, our words, our actions, and our thoughts all become light. That light not only guides us, but also guides those lost in darkness. As compassion spreads, the world will slowly become warmer. A place where everyone can find hope and strength to keep walking. Looking back at the Buddha's teaching on compassion, we see it as more than moral advice. It is a daily practice, a real way to transform suffering. The compassionate person is never lonely. They open their heart to others. They connect through love. They see their own struggles reflected in the struggles of others. This connection becomes their strength. It lifts them. It reminds them they are never alone, even in life's hardest storms. Compassion is like a clear, cool stream. When it flows, it refreshes everything. When it grows still, it reflects the purest truth within us. Life is like an ocean, its waves never stopping. If we hold only hatred and selfishness, we are like fragile boats without anchors, easily sunk by storms. But if we carry compassion in our hearts, we sit in a sturdy vessel. No storm can sink us. Compassion becomes our compass. It leads us to the shore of peace. And when we find peace, we naturally share it with others. A family with compassion becomes harmonious. A community with compassion becomes united, and a world filled with compassion will surely find the path to lasting peace. In daily life, compassion begins with small acts. Listening to our parents when they speak, smiling at a stranger, forgiving an old mistake, helping someone in need. Small things, yes, but together they form a great energy, a light spreading everywhere. The Buddha said, "One lamp can light thousands of lamps without losing its flame." Compassion is the same. The more you give, the more it grows. When we live with compassion, we no longer see people with judgment. We see them with equality and kindness. We realize the person before us, friend or foe, carries suffering in their heart. We may not accept their actions, but we can still love the wounded human being inside them. This vision breaks down the walls of prejudice. It opens the road to reconciliation and understanding. True peace in the world will only come when people see each other with compassionate eyes. But compassion must be practiced every day. It is not something that appears by wish alone. It must be cultivated with mindful breathing, with awareness in our thoughts, words, and actions. When we pause before speaking hurtful words, when we breathe to calm anger, when we look into someone's eyes with the wish to understand, then compassion is growing inside us. Slowly, it becomes natural. It becomes the steady light guiding each step we take. Today, the world needs compassion more than ever. In the chaos of conflict and pain, we see clearly. Power and violence cannot bring true peace. Only compassion can heal wounds. Only compassion can mend what is broken. Only compassion can carry humanity through the dark toward the dawn. If each of us plants a single seed of compassion, those seeds will grow into a garden of peace, a garden where anyone can walk in and find healing. And so, it comes back to you, the one listening right now. You can be a lamp of compassion. You can shine for yourself and for others. Begin today with a kind word, a gentle act, a loving thought. Let compassion guide your choices, big or small. Together, we can spread this spirit everywhere. Together, we can lessen the world's tears and multiply its smiles. If these words bring you peace and meaning, share them with others, and stay with this channel. Each day, let us listen, practice, and plant more seeds of compassion. Every subscription, every act of support is more than encouragement for this channel. It is a pledge to grow compassion together. It is a way to let the Buddha's light reach further and further. So let compassion in you shine like the sun. Wherever you go, may you leave behind fields of love and peace.
From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for supporting Buddha's loving words. May the teachings of the Buddha continue to touch every heart, bringing peace and happiness.